Consumers, this is the most marketable man in wrestling, Richard Holliday, and I am telling you, I'm urging you to keep listening and supporting the Maine Event Podcast.
Talking about wrestling from today and the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Maine Event Podcast.
Biggest, baddest Harmon. Hello, buddy.
I made my first entrance through a curtain this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
At what?
At what for? At Fet Music Hall.
I really
Rich
want to.
Palladino called my name. He shouted out the Maine Event Podcast, and I came through the curtain. It was awesome.
Oh my goodness! Really?
I was the second person through the curtain after Rich Palladino. He was in the ring, and I had to wait, and it was killing me.
What did you do for an entrance? Did you?
I just walked out and waved. Yeah. It was
nice.
lame.
Waved. A wave. Solid
I did
wave.
wave.
Good for you. Good for you. I can't wait to see that on video.
I felt like Ace Austin was like pushing me out. He's like,
"Get out there, man!"
Yeah, pretty much. He's like standing there. I'm like,
goodness. So we are sponsors of a show that is coming up this summer.
are you talking about the Wrestlers Laboratory Labnormal on Sunday, July 8th?
I am. That very show.
4 to 7 p.m.
4 to
Knights of
7
Columbus.
p.m. Knights of Columbus. Absolutely. Ridgefield
106,
Park.
Bergen Ave.
Bergen, is that how you say that?
I don't
know.
know.
Bergen Ave. 106 Bergen Ave, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Wrestlers Laboratory.
Tickets are available on brownpapertickets.com.
They sure are. They sure are. Yeah, so we're sponsoring that show. So what we're doing here is we're trying to get people on this podcast who are on that show. So, first one up tonight, Richard Holliday. Maybe you've heard of him, Harmon.
I have.
Man. You've heard of him. You've seen him. The most marketable man in pro wrestling, Richard Holliday. He's going to be on Wrestlers Laboratory. He's going to be in a scramble representing the fine state of Connecticut. And Connecticut. And he's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And he's on the show tonight. We've got his interview coming up in a little bit. We chat about his breaking into the business, his trainer and mentor, Paul Roma, former WWF, I guess, superstar, Power and Glory. Yeah. Very
that was
cool.
a great gimmick because one guy was, like the badass, like Power, and he was all about like, he was still big and badass, but he was all about,
he was the finesse. He's the pretty boy. He's finesse. Yeah.
He was wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah. Oh man, they had the cutoff shirts. Yeah. Yeah. We talk a little bit about it in the interview with Richard. Very cool. I haven't seen him live, like in person. I've watched a bunch of his stuff online. I know you called this match, right? This past week.
I did.
What? Yeah. So very cool there.
Match with the King of Dong Style, Joey Ryan.
Yep. Pretty awesome. So it's fun there. Good chat. Let's see. Before we dive in there, though, let's do some real quick plugs. You guys can find us on social media at Maine Event Pod. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, wherever you guys get your podcasts from. We're most likely there. So we have a hotline. That number is 929-260-3099. If listeners, you guys want to call in, cut a promo on us, ask a question, we'll answer it. We don't give a shit. We'll answer it. Teespring store.
You can actually text that number also if you don't want to call.
Yeah, you can text it. Yeah, if you don't want to, if you're afraid of phones and your voice on answering machines, which a lot of people have anxiety about, just shoot us a text.
I know, which is weird.
Easy.
It's so bad actually that did you see that Google invented this new like assistant that'll fucking call places for you?
No, I did not.
Oh my god, look it up. Because this guy like tells Google to like make a hair appointment or something or make a reservation at a Chinese restaurant. And the Google app itself will call the Chinese restaurant and make the reservation for you.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it like improvises too, because when he calls the Chinese restaurant, the lady's like, "Oh, well, we don't do reservations for less than 5," and he wanted one for 4. He's like, "So what time is it okay to come in and just sit down? Will there be room?" And
this is Google?
Yeah,
This is
it
Google,
asked
wow.
me that, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you come in, you sit right down." I was
Ugh.
like, "Oh my god,
Technology, man, it freaks me out. That's crazy. Just pick up the goddamn phone.
nope,
You know, come on.
nope." Pretty
Yeah.
soon, you're just gonna get my assistant, John. I'm not even
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. You're like, Harmon, you gonna make the podcast tonight? Nah, I'm sending Google for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Google, just talk about blah blah and blah blah and mention this, and you're good.
Yep.
Make it between 35 and 45 minutes. Thank you. Go.
And go. And then I'm gonna go play Madden. See ya. Goodness. Let's see. If you guys want to support this podcast, there's a couple ways you guys can do it. You guys can buy a shirt or hoodie on our Teespring store. You guys can hit us up at a show. We've got some cool trucker hats for sale.
You can just hand us money. We take that.
We take handouts. You know, I know some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to take handouts." I'll take handouts. I'll take a
I'm not
handout any
proud.
day. Yeah, not at all. You guys can go to strongstylebrand.com/main event pod. You guys can add a bunch of stuff into your cart there, and then you can enter the code main event pod at checkout, and you're gonna get 10% off, and then a little bit of that gets kicked back our way. So it's a good way to support this podcast. And it's
I
cool
wore
gear.
I wore the Strong Style brand tuxedo to What Wrestling.
Oh,
I
yeah?
had my Ring of Fire Strong Style brand shirt on. I had my new hat with the red bandana brim.
So awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just needed to wear the leggings.
It would have looked weird, I think.
I want to see you in that would have completed the Strong Style brand tuxedo.
I tell you though, it is super popular with wrestlers before shows. Like they all show up wearing like the Strong Style brand joggers and
yeah,
the hoodies and the shirts and
right. I could have said the joggers or the shorts for you, but I went with leggings. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know. So that's it. Those are the plugs. Get into it. Let's get into this interview with Richard Holliday. What do you say?
Let's do it.
He's a good dude. So here you go. Welcome to the show, the most marketable man in professional wrestling, Mr. Richard Holliday. What's going on, Richard? How you doing tonight?
What's going on, my man? I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We are doing fantastic. Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
man. Thanks for coming on. This is going to be cool. We're obviously we're sponsors of the Wrestlers Laboratory show, so we're trying to get as many people on as possible and really get the word out there of the show.
Trying to make their first solo show as big as possible.
Yeah, so trying to get our listeners a little bit more familiar with the talent that's going to be out there in New Jersey on July 8th, and you, my good man, are the first one that we're having on. So congrats on being the first.
Yeah, you picked a good one to kick these things off. So I'm honored.
For sure.
Well,
So
I had seen you wrestle a couple times now, and I told him, I said, "Well, we got to get Richard Holliday on." It's obviously the marketing department says we need to get Richard Holliday.
Our marketing department has contacted us. Yeah,
smart marketing would lean towards getting me on the show, so I appreciate that.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, man. Like I said off air, we just kind of want to get to know you, have our listeners get to know you. So I know a little bit about you. I know you're from New Haven, Connecticut, correct?
Correct, I am, and for the longest time, I was from Manhattan, New York.
Really?
And I had everybody fooled, everybody, and then just recently I said, you know what, screw this, man. I'm from New Haven.
There you go. Yeah, New York. Come on. So the Wrestlers Lab thing, you're in a scramble, which is pretty cool.
State scramble.
Yeah, and so everybody's kind of representing their state, so it's very cool. How do you feel about representing Connecticut? It kind of falls right in line with this. How do you feel about that? Are you gonna rep Connecticut well, or what?
You know what? I think so. And honestly, if you kind of take a look at the independent wrestling scene right now, there's a lot of really good talent coming out of Massachusetts. A lot of really good talent, in the metropolitan area, and then a lot of good talent, coming out of like that Midwest Ohio kind of territory. And I kind of feel like, maybe I'm biased, but I kind of feel like I'm kind of holding down Connecticut, because you don't really hear too much about a lot of people coming out of Connecticut. and you know, making splashes and going to a bunch of different places. So, you know, I'm hoping to kind of be that guy, bring, you know, wrestling back to Connecticut. So I'm personally, I was really excited about the concept, and I was excited to represent Connecticut, and I'm looking forward to it. And when he initially announced it, I'm not going to lie, I was still being announced from Manhattan, so I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what, it's about time the truth comes out.
Yeah.
So it was fitting.
Yeah, and the match looks pretty stacked too. I mean, Helen Vale representing Jersey, AJ Gray, Tennessee, Matt Kenway, Missouri. Who else? Rocket Boy Wilson, California. Nick Tendo, New Mexico. Yep. I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be really fun. I love the concept as well.
Yeah, we just saw AJ Gray too at Limitless, didn't we?
I don't know. Did I? I didn't. You might.
Oh,
have.
you weren't there.
I'm a loser. I don't do anything.
Get out of the house, man. Come on.
I know. So Connecticut. What was you're born and raised there, right? Is that the deal?
Born and raised, man. The playground's where I spend most of my days.
Yes. What's that like, man? What's growing up? I mean, we're from New England, but
we're from Maine. That's like, the stepchild of New England.
Yeah, but
Connecticut is it's all right, man. You know what I mean? It's not as glamorous as like being like from New York or something, and Massachusetts has Boston, and then Rhode Island, is beautiful. It's right on the water and everything. Connecticut, is obviously on the water too. We have a beautiful shoreline. But Connecticut is very expensive. It's very, very expensive to live here. So that's a downfall. Then Connecticut doesn't really have too much to offer in terms of like, you're not going to be like, hey man, let's go on vacation to Connecticut. It just doesn't happen. But
aren't there castles in Connecticut?
Maybe I'm biased to where I'm from. And New Haven is a blast. New Haven is kind of like it's a small city in a sense. Very lively. There's a lot going on. Very modern. So New Haven is a lot of fun. And like I said, there's the shoreline of Connecticut is very beautiful. But if I had to choose somewhere else, on the map, I'd maybe choose a couple different states over Connecticut. But
yeah, my father-in-law is from Connecticut. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's from Pomfret. I don't know if you know where that Pomfret, Connecticut. Putnam, Connecticut. It's over by Yukon a little bit.
Putnam, yes, yeah. I'm Southern Connecticut, so I'm more heading towards New York, but
right on. So growing up there, I know you come from a football background. Did you play ball growing up?
Yeah, man, I played football my entire life. Actually, my high school team sucked, man. We went 0-32, man. I didn't win one game in high school.
Ouch.
It was brutal, dude.
Stings.
But yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but I was good enough to. I ended up playing NCAA football. I played at the University of New Haven, which is Division II. Mm-hmm. But they were a top 5 team in the country. So really good team, powerhouse football program in New Haven. So that was a blast. I only played for 2 years because I ended up transferring schools. I went into a different program to get my degree in marketing, and. But yeah, I played football my entire life. That was really the only sport that I really kind of focused on. Obviously as a kid I played everything else, but football was my thing.
Yeah, what position did you play?
I actually, what position do you think I played? If you were to take a look at me.
You're a big dude, so I'm going to probably say in high school, probably lineman, just because they are, big dudes on the line. But I'm going to say linebacker maybe in college.
I was a right guard. I was 275 pounds.
What?
And I was super fat, and I hated it, man. I hated it because I would always tell a couple of the guys. Me and another guy who was an upperclassman. He was a defensive end, but he had it all because he wanted to be a professional wrestler. So he had it all too, man. He was like 6'5", 245, and shredded. And long blonde hair, and I was like, oh man, like this guy is made for pro wrestling. And he ended up just becoming like a state trooper or something like that, and I ended up getting into wrestling, and I was like 275 pounds and fat, because my coach made me gain weight because I was a little undersized.
Yeah.
So I would just go to the cafeteria, man, and just like scarf down like chicken patties and pizza. And I was like, I gotta gain weight. And I got like really fat, and I wasn't happy with myself. And I just said, you know what, man, this isn't the end goal. So I know what the end goal is. And I transferred schools and then started, taking my workouts more serious, getting into better shape. And then, here I am now.
When did you get into wrestling because of your football buddy, or did you know of wrestling and like wrestling, professional wrestling, like beforehand?
No, man, 5 years old, man.
Yeah.
5 years old. My father used to take me to the New Haven Coliseum, which is no longer in existence. But the New Haven Coliseum used to host live events all the time, because obviously they're located in Stamford. So they always put on a really good show in New Haven. So I would go there, and that's where I got hooked. I got hooked right in like the midst of the Attitude Era, right around 1998. 98 or 99 is when I got into it. So I was like 5 or 6. Yeah. And yeah, man, I was hooked. I was enamored. I always wanted to do it. And I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple of years, maybe between like 16 to 20 or something. You know what I mean? You start getting into different things in life. You start fading away. I wasn't watching the product for several years. I wasn't into wrestling at all. And then right around like 20 years old or 21, I was like, this is really what I want. And it just came like full circle to me again. I ended up just getting back into it.
Nice. Who are you digging in the Attitude Era? Were you like a Stone Cold guy? I picture you as like a Rock guy. Like I figure I'm just making assumptions.
Well, I do. If you're familiar with my work, I do model a lot of things after The Rock. I have to say he is a massive inspiration in my career. But my favorite, but my favorite wrestler of all time is actually Kane. And
Wow.
Yeah, Kane. Yeah, everybody was always into Rock and Austin, but I was always into Kane and Undertaker. That was always my thing.
I was a big fan of Kane myself.
I can vouch for you. You were, yes.
I was so captivated by Kane. I thought he was absolutely just the coolest thing ever. And then The Undertaker was the perfect counterpart. And that was everything to me.
Did we just become best friends? You want to do karate in the garage? Absolutely.
But yeah, man, Kane's a man.
Nice. I love that like part of pro wrestling, like that theatrical, like dark side. Like whenever anybody debuts, like like I'm big into Bray Wyatt, like stuff like that. Like I love that darker side of pro wrestling. So I too, was a big fan of like Taker and Kane, and even guys that like didn't stick around.
I love
long.
it when somebody comes back from somebody's past.
Yes.
Like even like in Lucha Underground, where Dante Fox came back for Killshot. That was cool.
Yeah. Like a kind of like an origin story that gets put out. I love that. Yeah.
It's the storytelling part of wrestling that is I'm a little bit more drawn to. Right.
Makes sense. And then you obviously just being like an athletic kid, like growing up, it could just kind of fit. So, so then so you said it was like 2021 or something that you were like, okay, I kind of want to do this, or?
Yeah, it was around 22 when I ended up signing up to go to the school and started training. It was like late 2014. It was actually really funny the way it worked because, obviously I'm from New Haven. So, when I was considering being a wrestler, there was really no schools out here. There was really nowhere for me to sign up because a lot of the big ones are like the Pro Wrestling Academy in Massachusetts, or Creative Pro in New York, were probably, geographically the two closest ones to me, that had any credibility behind them. So I was like, this is going to be tough, man. I don't know if I can make this travel.
XWA have a school?
XWA does have a school. I wasn't familiar with it at the time, though.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was open back then. I think it was, probably. But those were the two that I was looking at. And I was like, if I want to do this, I have to train somewhere. But out of nowhere, Paul opened up a school. Paul Roma opened up a school legitimately a minute and a half from my house.
That's amazing. Like,
Okay.
how often does that happen?
Like that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen to anybody in the business. But it happened to me. And I was like, wow, like this is kind of destiny. You know, this is kind of like fate. Like this was meant to happen. So I signed up. I was Paul's first student, and I was his only student for quite some time. It was literally just me and Paul.
That's awesome.
So I had,
That's kind of cool though. Just like just one-on-one training for that long, you know,
one-on-one training with Paul. And I think that's what really helped me so much in the beginning, because a lot of people go to school and, you know, they have to share a ring, you know, with, 10, 20 guys. I didn't have to share a ring with anybody. I had one-on-one attention every time I went there.
So you being kind of like a younger guy, were you familiar with, like, I mean, obviously being a wrestling fan, probably, but because he was a little bit before your time, were you like familiar with Paul's work, like in WCW and like WWE runs and stuff like that?
Well, don't tell anybody, but no.
This is going to air at some point, so.
I'm sorry, Paul. Paul, I love you, man. I love you for listening. I heard the name. I obviously heard. I heard the name because I was never like a historian in the sense that I'm a student of the game, and now I am.
Sure.
But when I was simply getting into it, I would never go back and like watch the old stuff. I did when I was like really young, and there was like Blockbuster and like Tommy K video stores. And I would go and I would rent VHSs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like back then. So I probably did watch Paul Roma matches, but I was probably just too young to kind of remember.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was a big Power and Glory fan when I was a kid. I don't know why, but I did like Paul Roma.
Those guys were jacked.
Well, yeah, of course. I was really bummed when LOD like destroyed them in like 30 seconds and I think it was like a WrestleMania at one point, but I was like, oh man, come on. Like they're a solid tag team. Even as a kid, I was like, they're a solid tag team. Why'd they just get squashed like that? That's bullshit.
A lot of people feel that way. Like,
yeah.
I talk to a lot of people who think it's cool that I got trained by Paul. And they're like, oh my God, I was the biggest Power and Glory fan.
Yeah.
And I go back and I watch their stuff and I can see why. Because like if they debuted today, like you would like them. Like you have Hercules, who looks like a legitimate monster,
right,
and Roma, who's like one of the best athletes to ever get in the ring. So like kind of put them today in like today's like world, like they probably thrive.
Of course. Yeah. I that's always like one of those like underrated tag teams that I'm like, oh, they should have had like a much longer run. And then, I mean, I don't know, like I don't know the logistics of it afterwards, but I know that Paul and WWE kind of parted ways, and there's whatever, talk about that. But I don't know. I think it's cool when you get to kind of be a fan, and then you get to meet somebody who was like at the show, and then, oh, now you're going to train me like one-on-one. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just neat. Yeah. It's really neat.
It's very surreal, man.
Yeah.
It really is. Some of the things that happens to us in our careers. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
So what was training with Paul like? Like, do you have any good stories? Did he run you through the gauntlet? Did he burn you out, or what was training with him like?
Well, for me, it's different because I developed this relationship with Paul, being with him, it was probably a good solid month of just me and him. So he didn't really have the chance to like break me down and like run me through it, because let's say I quit. Where does the school go from there?
Right.
Yeah. Then he's showing up by himself.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And now it's actually really good. PAPW has over a dozen students, probably in the 15 to 16 range. So it's really grown. So I'm really proud of that. But, the training was what I needed it to be. He focused a lot more on the psychology of wrestling, more so than, getting me in shape, because, the way he looks at it is like, listen, this is eventually going to be your job. Like, you need to keep yourself in shape. So, come in shape as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A little bit of a different mindset.
Right. Makes sense. And so how long were you training with him before, I don't know, you or him were like, hey, you're ready to have a match? Like,
I didn't think I was ready for my first match. So I started training in November of 2014. My first match was August 1st, 2015 in South Bend, Indiana.
yeah.
Yeah, I went all the way out to Indiana to wrestle a match.
All the way over at South Bend, Indiana. Most guys have their, first match, 20 minutes from their house at a Legion Hall or something. And
yeah, no, I had my first match at the Chicago Cubs AAA affiliate baseball stadium.
Jeez. Wow.
in South Bend, Indiana. Because basically there was an enhancement talent for WWE that used to work in the Indiana area and the surrounding states that Paul became really friendly with, and they became friends, and they've had a connection to this day. So this guy runs a show once a year, and he always brings in Paul. So me, Paul, and my best friend in the business, Matthias, drove up to Indiana. It was 12 hours.
Oof.
And I was so nervous, man. And I had my first match, and I wrestled him. I wrestled the promoter of the show. His name's Brian Costello. And we went out there and we had a match. I mean, and I got it out of the way. And it was pretty funny because the ending of the match was an interference from Demolition. So
whoa, nice.
So Demolition interfered in my first match.
What are they doing in that match? Oh my goodness.
They just came out and started beating up Brian because the main event was Demolition versus Brian and Cowboy Bob Orton.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Did he still have his cast on?
Who, Cowboy Bob?
Most likely.
You probably did.
Yeah. So how did your match go before Demolition came in? Were you like, oh, that was good first match, or were you like, oh my God, I have no idea what's happening?
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing? And I mean, is it a match that I would show somebody right now? No, definitely not.
No.
I don't think I've ever even seen it. I would love to, just to laugh at myself. I had this terrible goatee. I had a terrible goatee, no tan, and terrible gear. And went out there and had my what a first match should be, a very basic, not prolific match.
Yeah.
And I don't know, great memories from it, but.
And build from Manhattan. No.
Build from Manhattan. Yes, I came out to Frank Sinatra, New York.
Oh wow, good, nice. Oh man, but now, man, you're all over the place. You're. I mean, hell, you just wrestled Joey Ryan at what? God, you're Super 8 champ. I mean, what's this like, man? Is this like just a surreal roller coaster ride, man? Because you're killing it right now. You're all over the place.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, it's so much fun.
I apologize. I was going to get Joey Ryan to say something nice about you. I was going to record it on my phone and then bring it back with us for today. Yeah, I completely forgot. I was like, Joey, can I get something, talking about...
you suck, man.
Like, I know. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Later on, I was like, okay.
And then
I got busy. He was all packed up and ready to go. And I was like, oh, crap.
You're a bum, Harmon. Unbelievable.
You stink.
You are not part of our marketing department at all. No. Speaking of like the whole marketing thing, wrestling, pro wrestling, indie wrestling is marketing, right, man? It's self promotion. You're trying to get out there, trying to get bookings. Prove to everybody that you belong. How did the gimmick thing come about? Like, I mean, because it's perfect. I mean, it's exactly what pro wrestling is, right? The most marketable man and pro wrestling. Does it come from your degree in marketing? Did you just kind of put two and two together, or how did this whole thing come about?
So I was literally laying in bed one night, and so early on in my career, I called myself New York's finest asset. I thought this was God's gift to wrestling. I am going to take over indie wrestling with New York's finest asset, and little did I know there wasn't much levity behind that persona per se. I kind of tapped out at it. And I was laying in bed one night, and I had my degree hanging up on my wall. I really have a degree in marketing. And I was looking at it, and I was like, God, what a waste of money. Just, I was like, that's a $40,000 mistake. And it just clicked. I was just like, it just, to snap my fingers, it just came to me. And it's more so than just a name. I believe it. And I don't think that you can pull something like that off if you don't truly believe what I'm saying. And I do. I kind of have a good grasp of what wrestling is, who's been successful and who hasn't, what it takes, and kind of what you need to look like in order to, and obviously there's exceptions to every single rule. So it's not a, it's not a requirement, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like a blueprint. But I believe it, I do believe I am the most marketable man in wrestling. And once I was able to get behind that and start coming up with more clever ideas and everything, it just took off on its own.
Nice.
Wait, you've taken a pretty, it's not a new thing to be the heel who thinks he's the best, but you've taken it and tweaked it enough so that it's become your own thing. The only other guy I can think of right now that's that hated for being that guy right now is MJF. He's better than you. You're not saying you don't have that catchphrase, but you're the most marketable. You've turned it into your own thing, and that's got to be hard enough because it is it's a gimmick that fucking everybody's tried. I think for being a heel. I mean, how else? What's the easiest way? It's just to make everybody think that no, you're not. Get out of here. You're full of yourself.
Yeah. But it makes sense though. Like what Richard's saying is like you got to believe it, and like if you're saying it, like you got to believe it. It's one thing if you have like a valet or a manager, saying it, telling people that hey, I got this guy who's the best, but it's something different if the guy himself is saying I'm the best, like I'm the most marketable man. It's believable, and I think fans definitely see it in you, Richard. I mean, I think you pull it off like super well. It's awesome. It's obviously part of you. It's not like that kind of cliche thing that people say is like, the best gimmicks are the ones that are kind of yourself, but just turned up to 11. That's kind of you, I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know you personally, but you kind of have that like little chip on your shoulder a little bit. And you're kind of like, I can do this. I'm the best. And, try and prove me wrong kind of a thing. So very cool, man. I dig it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
And pinstripe gear will always get you heat in New England.
Yes, it will.
Well, the pinstripe gear has luckily been retired. It was fun while it lasted. I did like it, but it wasn't what I'm currently going for and what I'm currently doing. So it's retired, but it was fun. I did like the pinstripe gear. I may get new pinstripe gear. I'm not sure, but for the time being, it's on the shelf.
Oh boy, pinstripe gear, brutal. Are you being a New England guy? Are you a Sox fan or Yankees fan? Or are you like?
Come on, man! You think I would get navy blue pinstripe gear if I was a Red Sox fan?
God, I don't know.
He's from Connecticut. That's like Eastern New York.
That's true.
Yeah, but a big Yankee fan, big Giant fan.
Oh God! All right, we're gonna end this. I think. No.
Yep. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Oh goodness. Maybe Eli can sell you some fake game worn gear. Did you hear about that? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
All right.
Hey,
he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
That Eli.
Tom Brady shield Uggs. All right, so
gross. Goodness.
Let's talk about some of the stuff you've done here lately.
Yeah, man.
You've been wrestling in the XWA now, right?
Yeah.
You're wrestling at what? You weren't at the first what, right? You were there, but you didn't wrestle, right?
I was backstage.
I saw you there. You were in the ECWA Super 8 tournament this year, which was what? This is the 22nd year they've done it.
I was in that tournament, yes.
and these are just some of the names of the guys who have won this thing: Christopher Daniels, Matt Cross, Xavier Woods, Low Key, Paul London, Tommaso Ciampa, and now Richard Holliday.
Yeah, it definitely puts me in elite company. It was an absolute honor to be on that stage and to be represented that way, and then to win the whole tournament was a very surreal experience for me. And I'm very proud of that accomplishment. It's something that will go down in the history books forever, and it can never be taken away from me. And it's just a great accomplishment. It's a lot of the boys have reached out to me and with congratulations, and that kind of makes me feel that I have done something. I have done something great, and I have done something historic, and I'm very proud of it. I brought the trophy down to the school at Paradise Alley, and maybe I put it there for motivation, or I put it there because I'm proud of it. I don't know, but I'm very proud of it. There's not much else I could say about it.
Yeah, I mean, in that tournament, it definitely wasn't a cakewalk. I mean, you beat some big names in that
first round. You beat Anthony Green, who was undefeated in Maine, by the way.
Yeah, and that guy's on fire.
Second round, I beat Anthony Green, and yes, he is on fire. He's awesome.
Yeah, Chase Owens. I mean, Bullet Club member. I mean, you're beating these names that are out there. These guys who have been doing it a long time, or these guys who are just on fire. Like Anthony Green's on fire right now. Especially in the promotion that's closest to us, Limitless. To kind of have wins over those guys and to win this prestigious tournament, it's pretty awesome, man. It's definitely something to be proud of, and it's very, very cool too.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome. And everybody in that tournament this year was awesome. So it would have been it would have been great to mix it up with any one of the other 7 guys. But I was happy with the 3 that I was able to get in the ring with.
Yeah.
Who was your first round opponent?
Bolt Brady.
Brady.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, no slouch there either. My goodness.
He was that Limitless the other day too.
Yeah, he's making the rounds. So where are you heading next? Besides Wrestler's Lab, what's on your docket?
Well, you could always see me at Paradise Alley. I'm the XWA Firebrand champion, so I'm always going to be there. Wrestling Hazard tomorrow. ECWA, I will be at consistently. I'm debuting for PPW in Pennsylvania this Saturday. I'll be wrestling Sean Carr, who actually won the 2017 Super 8. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Sean Carr.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wrestler's Lab, Dynasty, a lot of different places, man. A lot of different places.
Is that just the goal right now? Just to get out there as much as you can, work as much as you can? Where's travel?
Yeah.
Where's travel for you? Are you traveling? What's the farthest you're going here?
I mean, honestly, right now, the farthest that I'm going is probably PPW in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's a lot of quality promotions kind of in this geographic circle where you don't have to go too far. And you can get really quality shows in Mass, Rhode Island, New York, Jersey, wherever.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get out there more. I want to get down to Florida and the Georgia area. I want to go out to Ohio, go back to Indiana, but for some different promotions. And it's just to get out there as much as I can, build the brand, and just keep getting after it. Being consistent.
Yeah.
We know a guy running shows in Georgia.
We do. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. Well, pass my name along.
For sure.
You may have heard of him. His name's Glacier.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't know we run shows in Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
The One Fall Power Factory. Right? Is that what it's called? One Fall?
Yeah, it is called One Fall. Yeah, him and QT Marshall. They're doing some cool things down there in Georgia.
Oh, the Power Factory?
Yeah.
It's the One Fall Power Factory.
Yeah, One Fall Power Factory. Yeah.
His school is attached to a world class NFL training facility for draft prospects and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Ray is good people. I like Ray. He's awesome. But anyway, man, we were talking to JT Dunn. He was our last month's interview, and we were kind of talking about Providence just being like just this hotbed of, I mean, New England entirely kind of being this hotbed for indie wrestling, and Providence kind of being like right in the center of it. So
Providence has got to be one of my favorites because you've got What Wrestling, XWA, Live Prov. I mean, you can go not too far and be in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey's what, 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, it's not bad, man. It's definitely, you're in good company. Like you said, there's a lot of like quality spots there to wrestle and kind of showcase what you have to offer. You don't have to travel too far. And then, you know what else isn't too far? Us up here in Maine, my man. So
seems like a lot of fun to perform out there. So
yeah,
hopefully one day I will.
Hopefully soon for our benefit. It'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Man. Yeah, for sure, man. Harmon, you got anything else for Richard Holliday here?
I don't.
No.
I think we've touched on the full sheet of stuff that I have written down. We've hit on most of it.
Yeah, man. I like it. Awesome. Well, Richard, thanks, man, for coming on. Anything else you want to get out there? Let our listeners know about you, about where you're going to be, or anything.
Just look out for me on Twitter. I put all my appearances on there. I'm very active on there. At Most Marketable. You can find me on Instagram at Most Marketable as well. Give me the follow. And that's pretty much it. Look out for me. I'm making my rounds. I'm getting out there. So if you haven't seen me, come see me. And just keep supporting independent wrestling.
Awesome. We will.
Richard, you're gonna
listen to the podcast.
Yes.
More into like Instagram videos and stuff like that. I mean, social media is. I mean, it's just opened the business up to everybody almost. It seems, and some people use it and they blow right up. It seems like, and other guys, they tweet once and twice and blah blah blah. But
I'm really into doing like 1 minute to 1 minute to a minute and a half, like almost sketch comedy videos that I put on my Twitter or Instagram and Facebook. So I mean, just kind of scroll down, and if you ever see a video, it's usually like a little something that I put together just because I think it's funny or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen.
So I usually do a lot of those videos.
I've seen you spit on
Paul
Roma's face. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that one was fun.
I bet. One take, I'm assuming. So
one take, man.
Yeah,
one take. That.
I don't know if he gives you a second take.
Yeah. So awesome, man. Hey, thanks for coming on, Richard. We really appreciate it. Good luck wherever you go. Good luck at Wrestlers Laboratory, especially in the scramble. Bring it home for Connecticut, my man. Bring it home.
You got it, guys. Thank you so much.
You can represent like Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine too if you want. I mean,
yeah, nobody else from New England is there, but yeah, you're good with Connecticut, right?
You're gonna say New England and call it good.
Yeah,
Connecticut's enough.
Right, there you go. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, man.
I do listen to the marketing department, John. I listened, and they told me to talk to this man and have him come on the show. So I did. You're welcome again for bringing on a guest.
Thank you. It was a good guest. I really enjoyed that chat. It was cool to kind of get to know him, where he comes from, who he's trained by. He's working hard, man. He's out there. He's living it.
He's a real smart guy.
He is
real
smart
guy.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, I really enjoyed that. That was good, and I hope our listeners did too. He's a guy who, I think he even says it in an interview. He has yet to venture this way into Maine, so some of our listeners might not know who he is, might not have seen him live in person, but you will soon enough. You will. I hope so. He should be coming this way. Hopefully, that would be really fun to get him up in the Pine State over here. So,
I mean, he's still pretty new. I mean, he's only been wrestling, training for 4 years. He's only been, wrestling for what, 3 years.
Yeah,
having matches. So, he's still new, but he's making a great name for himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, good gimmick too. Cool gimmick. It's fun. It's good. I enjoy a really good gimmick, and I enjoy guys who, like when we mentioned, when he found out about wrestling and he was like 5 years old, and it's like, dude, I love that. I love people that just they've known about it forever. They've been a fan. They're a fan of it, and then you get to go do it for a living. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I love it. What else?
And I like how he told us about his buddy there in high school who wanted to be a wrestler, and now he's the wrestler, and his buddy's like a boring state trooper.
I don't know. State troopers. I mean, I can't imagine that's too boring. But yeah, I get what you mean. Compared to the lifestyle of a pro wrestler, yeah, anything is boring. Let's see.
Pulling over Harmon because he's doing 10 over the speed limit. I mean, that's just bullshit.
You don't go 10 over. Come on.
Right, I go 15.
I don't know, man. I'm a slow driver now that I'm like old.
You know, I really am too. I am grandpa in the car. I mean, on the highway, I keep a pretty good pace up.
Sure.
My car only allows me to go so fast before it starts making weird noises. So
right.
I do have a little bit of body damage. So at about 90 miles an hour, the front end starts making a flapping noise.
Yeah, things rattle. Yep, exactly. Yep. I'm the same way. Highway cruising, but if I'm just bombing around town, I'm like, slow down. This is a neighborhood.
There are kids playing.
Yeah, the kids are playing in this yard. Yeah.
I'm that angry dad, you know, kind of guy who's like making his hand motion, you know, with a slow down.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing it.
Yes. Slow down. I just do old man shaky fist at cars.
Yeah. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Goodness. Anything else before we get out of here?
I would just like to say thank you to everybody at What. That was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone down there before and sold shirts with Frankie, but this was completely different. You know, I got to be backstage in the locker room, anywhere I wanted to be, really, and met a ton of cool people, and it was just amazing. It was so fun. And this is all, I mean, this is just something that happened. I mean, if you want to do something, you like professional wrestling and you want to do something, you want to get into it, start taking pictures at shows. You know, start a podcast, be on a podcast, call in on a podcast. Just do what you want to do. It's so much fun.
Absolutely, man. And dude, you know what? I'm proud of you. Like, it was awesome. Like, not even like related to like the podcast. Like, obviously it's great exposure, like for the podcast, but like, I don't give a shit about that. I mean, I care about it, obviously, but like, I just think it's cool for you. And I think it was awesome. And that you were like,
I'll say it. I called you. I hadn't even left yet, really. I was still in Maine. And I was like having a panic attack. I'm like, holy fuck.
I know. I had to like talk you through that. Like, come on, man. Get your power.
Once I got down there, though, and I realized, like, no, I've met these guys before. Like, I know Rich. I know Rich Palladino. I know JT Dunn. You know, I've met all these people here. Dan Moff isn't that scary in real life.
Right. Well,
I mean, he still is. He's still kind of scary.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're all like big kids, though. Everybody's having a great time.
Yeah. And everybody just loves wrestling, you know, like that's like the common thing is like, you can just start talking wrestling to someone because it's what we all know and it's what we all love. And it's just, it's the common factor that, you know, that binds us all really like in a
like
spot
Danny
like
Miles
that.
and I had a conversation about his chain. I'm like, that's like $200 for the chain. He's like, I think I got it for like 150. You know, we're like, he's like, I just wanted to make it big enough that nobody else would be like, yeah, I got one of those in my backyard. And everybody else was like curling it. Like Brody King's like got it wrapped around his fist. He's doing curls with it. And, you know, trying to get pumped up beforehand.
Yeah.
Then he like had to tell Rich, like, I'm gonna pose and throw this off my shoulders behind me. So don't stand there. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, just get right out of the way. It was so much fun. So much fun.
I know, man. I hope you get to do it again.
Like Dexter Lou took me over to get a hot weenie. I didn't want to say it. But yeah. Exactly.
All right. Dexter Lou hot weenies. All right.
Yep.
I like that Dexter Lou too. He's a good dude.
What a degenerate.
But
he is tag team partner. Well, was tag team partners with Mikey Gamble, who will also be at the Wrestlers Laboratory show. They're having like a battle royal or something.
Yes. Yeah, doing like battle royal. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mikey Gamble on the show.
I know for sure. Let's get Mike Gamble on here. And definitely, guys, we're gonna be looking into. We're gonna be kind of releasing more as we go, plugging more about this show. We'll be getting more into it. We'll be hyping up a little bit more week by week until we get to the show, really. And hopefully by then we'll cover. We would have covered it all. And so it's gonna be cool. We're gonna have some more guests on. Everybody seems like super into it. So keep your ears out. It's gonna be awesome. Harmon, where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
I'm at Harmon316 and on Instagram at Bub Harmon.
There you go. I'm at.
Is that correct?
It is correct. You got it this time. Knocked it out of the park. Good job. I am on Twitter at Johnny Fashion. You guys can check out the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Maine Event Pod. Again, we're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. Feel free to rate, review, subscribe, as the kids say. Give us a good rating if you think we deserve it. I know people always say, give us that 5-star review or rating. If you think we deserve 5 stars, please do so. If you think 4, go 4. Whatever you guys think. This is all about our relationship. Me, Harmon, to you, the fans. If you guys want to buy something, please do. Teespring, strongstylebrand.com/maineventpod. A hat at a show. Hit us up if we're at a show and say, hey, I want to buy that hat. And you hand us cold hard cash, and I hand you a hat. And it's easy as that. Simple as pie. No receipt needed. All right.
No,
Harmon.
just wear it.
What's that?
Just wear the hat.
Just wear the hat. Just wear the hat, damn it. Big shout out to Follow the Fox. They do the intro and outro for the show. Dylan and Sarah, based out of Denver, Colorado. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Share a couple of live vids they were playing this week. They have some bluegrass.
Yeah, they had some live vids going on. We shared it on our Facebook. Check them out. They're so awesome. They are on Facebook and Instagram at Follow the Fox Band. They have a website, followthefoxband.com. And check them out. Tell them that we sent you. They're good folk. And that's about it. Harmon, thank you so much for joining me, my man.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Listeners at home, thank you for joining us. Catch you later.
I came through a curtain.
Talking about wrestling from the day in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.
We really didn't talk about Joey Ryan.
We didn't talk about Joey Ryan. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to talk about Joey Ryan? I don't know.
He flipped me with his dick.
Yeah. I liked your post. It was like, it happened. Let's move on. Like, we're done.
Yep.
I like how you came out with
his
gloves.
dick, and that's it.
You came out with the gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I don't think people really understood that was Ben Gay that I got from under the ring.
No, I could smell it.
Yeah, Harmon told me like that it smelled like Ben Gay, and he was like, "That was really Ben Gay." I was like, "Wow, all right."
Oh, it was really Ben Gay. My fucking hand was burning for like an hour after that. I could get it off.
Well, I watched you smear it on the mat, and I'm like, somebody's gonna roll in that.
Nice.